Zira watched the stars from her cell window, her purple skin reflecting the dim light. The transparent force field that kept her imprisoned allowed her to see freedom, but never touch it. Her antennae drooped with sadness as she thought of her homeworld, far beyond the stars she could see. The Vexari had kept her captive for 3 cycles now. She was a scientist, not a warrior, and had been studying plants on a remote moon when they captured her. The reptilian Vexari considered her species, the Anthosians, inferior and used them as test subjects or servants. Zira heard heavy footsteps approaching her cell. She tensed, preparing herself for another round of tests, but instead saw something unexpected. A figure in strange armor unlike anything the Vexari wore. The being was shorter than the Vexari with a smoother silhouette. The force field disappeared. The figure removed its helmet, revealing pale skin and brown hair pulled back in a ponytail. Zira gasped. This was a human. She had only heard stories of these beings from a distant planet called Earth. The human put a finger to her lips, signaling silence, then whispered, "My name is Amanda. I'm here to get you out." Amanda checked a device on her wrist, then motioned for Zira to follow. The human moved, with surprising agility despite the armor she wore. They crept through the dimly lit corridors of the Vexari prison station. Amanda seemed to know exactly where to go, avoiding guard patrols and security sensors. "Why are you helping me?" Zira whispered, her translator converting her musical language into English. "Humans don't believe in keeping sentient beings caged," Amanda replied simply, checking around a corner before proceeding. "Plus, we need allies against the Vexari. They've been raiding human colonies too." They reached a maintenance shaft. Amanda pried open the panel and gestured for Zira to climb in. The shaft was narrow but provided a direct route to the docking bay, according to Amanda. The human followed, closing the panel behind them. As they crawled through the shaft, Zira noticed how different this human was from the stories Anthosians told. Humans were supposedly aggressive and primitive, but Amanda showed intelligence, planning, and compassion. An alarm suddenly blared throughout. The station red lights flashed. "They've discovered you're missing," Amanda said, quickening her pace. "We need to hurry." They emerged in the docking bay. Amanda led Zira to a small ship, unlike the angular Vexari vessels. This ship had smooth curves and was painted black with a red stripe. Its design was both beautiful and practical. A voice came from inside the ship. "Amanda, did you find her?" "Got her, Susan, open up." The ship's ramp descended and another human appeared. This one had lighter hair and wore a different type of uniform. "Welcome aboard," Susan said to Zira. "Better strap in. We're about to make a dramatic exit inside the ship." Zira marveled at human technology. It was different from both Anthosian and Vexari tech. The controls seemed intuitive, using both physical switches and holographic interfaces. Amanda took the pilot seat while Susan manned the weapons station. Zira secured herself in a passenger seat. The ship hummed to life, its engines glowing blue. "Hang on," Amanda called out. "This might get rough." The ship shot forward, smashing through the atmospheric barrier of the docking bay. Alarms wailed as Vexari fighters scrambled to pursue them. Zira gripped her seat, watching in awe as Amanda piloted with incredible skill. Susan fired the ship's weapons, keeping the Vexari at bay. "We can't outgun them, but we can outrun them." Once we hit light speed, we're clear. Amanda navigated through an asteroid field using the rocks as cover. The Vexari ships, larger and less maneuverable, had trouble. Following, Zira watched with wide eyes as Amanda threaded the ship through gaps that seemed impossibly small. Lightspeed calculations complete. Susan announced, "Ready when you are, hold tight." Amanda said, flipping several switches. The stars stretched into lines and the ship lurched forward. The pursuing Vexari disappeared as they entered hyperspace. Zira felt her body relax for the first time in 3 cycles. "We did it," Susan cheered. Another successful rescue mission. Amanda turned to Zira with a smile. "Welcome to the Starlight. You're safe now." Zira looked at her rescuers with new appreciation. "I never thought I would escape. Thank you. There's a whole alliance of species working together against the Vexari." Susan explained, "Humans are just one part of it. We believe in freedom for all sentient beings, Amanda nodded. We can take you to your homeworld, or you can join us. Many Anthosians have joined the Alliance. Your scientific knowledge could be valuable. Zira thought about it. For 3 cycles she had dreamed of returning home. But now she saw a new possibility. Humans were nothing like she had been told. They were brave, resourceful, and kind. They fought not just for themselves, but for others. I want to join you. Zira decided. My knowledge might help defeat the Vixari. Amanda smiled warmly. Welcome to the team, then. The Starlight traveled for several hours through hyperspace. Zira spent the time learning about humans and their alliance against the Vixari. She discovered that humans had only recently developed interstellar travel, but had quickly formed bonds with many species who appreciated their determination and adaptability. Amanda explained that humans had found the Vixari threatening their outer colonies and learned of their practice of enslaving other species. This sparked a human initiative to form an alliance and fight back. We're not the strongest or most advanced species, Susan admitted, but we're stubborn, and we hate bullies. Zira nodded, understanding their determination, reminded her of her own people before they had been subjugated by the Vexari. The Starlight exited hyperspace near a massive space station unlike anything Zira had ever seen. It wasn't built with the sharp angles of Vexari architecture, nor the flowing organic shapes of Anthosian structures. Instead, it seemed to be a practical blend of many styles suggesting cooperation among different species. Alliance Station Omega. Amanda announced, "This is our main base of operations." Susan guided Zira to the docking bay, where they were greeted by a diverse group of beings Zira recognized, some from her own star system, but others were completely alien to her. Among them stood several humans varying in size, skin tone, and features. A human woman with short blonde hair stepped forward. "Welcome back, team. Successful mission." "I see mission. Complete, Commander Kelly," Amanda replied with a respectful nod. "This is Zira, an Anthosian scientist. She wants to join the Alliance, Commander." Kelly extended a hand to Zira, who hesitantly reached out to shake it as she had seen the humans do. The commander's grip was firm but gentle. "We're glad to have you," Zira, Kelly said. "Your people have suffered greatly under Vexari rule. Your knowledge will be invaluable to our cause." Zira was led to medical bay where human and alien doctors examined her. They treated wounds and malnutrition from her time in captivity. A kind human doctor named Olivia explained each procedure carefully, putting Zira at ease. "You're in remarkably good health considering what you've been through," Olivia said with a warm smile. "Your species has impressive resilience." After medical clearance, Zira was given quarters on the station. The room was simple, but comfortable, with adjustments made for her physiology. The bed was designed to accommodate her 4 arms, and the lighting matched the spectrum of her homeworld. Later that day, Amanda came to escort her to a briefing. Zira changed into the uniform provided to her, feeling a strange pride in wearing the Alliance insignia. They walked through corridors filled with members of different species all working together. "The Alliance Council wants to hear about your experience with the Vexari," Amanda explained. "They're especially interested in any scientific facilities you observed during your captivity." The council chamber was a circular room with representatives from 12 different species seated around a large table. Zira recognized the Brel with their crystalline bodies, the furry Tekken, and her own people represented by an elder named Kalo Zira. "Please tell us what you observed during your time in captivity," Commander Kelly requested. Taking a deep breath, Zira described the Vexari research she had witnessed. They were developing biological weapons specific to each Alliance species. They had extensive files on genetic weaknesses and were testing various compounds on prisoners. The council members exchanged concerned looks as Zira continued. The most disturbing project involved creating controllable soldiers. They were experimenting with neural implants that would allow them to override free will. "I believe they were close to a breakthrough when I was rescued." "And you're certain humans were among the test subjects?" asked a Tekken representative, his fur bristling with concern. "Yes." Zira confirmed. "I saw at least 3 humans. In the laboratory, they seemed to be focusing on humans, particularly testing different implant configurations against human neural patterns. This confirms our intelligence reports, Commander Kelly said grimly. The Vexari see humans as the greatest threat to their expansion. They're trying to develop ways to turn us against our allies. Zira hesitated, then added, They fear humans more than other species. They call you unpredictable and dangerous. They believe humans have a unique ability to adapt and innovate faster than they can counter. That's why they've been targeting human colonies, Kelly concluded. They want to eliminate the threat before we become too powerful. The meeting continued as the council discussed strategies and next steps. Zira provided all the information she could, occasionally consulting with Kalo about technical details specific to their people. After the briefing, Amanda showed Zira to the research labs where she would be working. A human scientist named Diane greeted them. Diane heads our biodefense division, Amanda explained. She'll help you get settled. In Diane's enthusiasm was contagious as she showed Zira around the laboratory. The lab was filled with advanced equipment, some of which Zira recognized, and others that were completely new to her. We've been trying to develop countermeasures against Vexari bioweapons, Diane explained, but we've lacked specific information on their research. Your knowledge could help us protect millions. Zira felt a surge of purpose. She had been a botanical researcher before her capture, but her time in the Vexari labs had given her insight into their biological warfare program. Now she could use that knowledge to save lives. I'll help in any way I can. Zira promised. I want the Vexari stopped over the next few days. Zira integrated into life on the station. She worked long hours with Diane and the research team, analyzing Vexari biological agents and developing potential countermeasures. Her knowledge, combined with human innovation, led to several breakthroughs. Zira also spent time with Amanda, learning about human culture. The two developed a friendship based on mutual respect. Amanda taught Zira self-defense techniques, while Zira shared knowledge of Anthosian science. During a training session, Amanda explained how humans had united after first contact with the Vexari. Before we met aliens, we were divided, fighting among ourselves, Amanda said. But when the Vexari attacked our colonies, we realized how petty our differences were. We united not just to survive, but because we recognized something worse than our own conflicts. You became defenders, Zira observed. Amanda nodded. We discovered something about ourselves when faced with the Vexari threat. Humans don't like bullies, and we're stubborn enough to stand up to them even when the odds seem impossible. One evening, as Zira worked late in the lab, an alarm sounded throughout the station. Red lights flashed and a computerized voice announced, Alert, Vexari fleet detected approaching station defensive positions. All personnel to battle stations. Zira's hearts raced as she secured her research and headed toward the designated shelter area. The corridors filled with Alliance members moving with purpose, not panic. She noticed humans directing others calmly. Despite the danger, as she turned a corner, she ran into Amanda, who was fully armored except for her helmet. Zira. There you are, Amanda said urgently. I was coming to find you. Commander Kelly wants you in the command center. Your knowledge of Vexari tactics might be valuable. Instead of going to shelter, Zira followed Amanda through the station to the command center. The large room buzzed with activity as officers monitored screens and communicated with ships deploying from the station. Commander Kelly stood at the central console, studying a holographic display of the approaching Vexari fleet. Zira. This attack is unusual, Kelly said without preamble. The Vexari don't typically commit this many resources to a single assault. What do you make of it? Zira studied the formation. Something's wrong, she said. They're not in standard attack formation. The lead ships are research vessels, not warships. They shouldn't be at the front. Kelly's eyes narrowed. That confirms my suspicion. This isn't just an attack, it's a retrieval mission. They want something or someone. They want me. Zira realized. They must have discovered I escaped with detailed knowledge of their bioweapon program. Perhaps, Kelly said, but there's something else. The formation suggests they're preparing to deploy something. We've intercepted unusual energy readings. Zira looked closer at the scans. The pattern was familiar from her time in captivity. They're going to deploy a neural disruption field, she said with growing horror. It's designed to interfere with brainwave patterns. They tested smaller versions on prisoners. How effective is it? Kelly asked sharply. Against most species, temporarily debilitating, Zira explained. But against humans, she hesitated, remembering the screaming human test subjects. It causes severe pain and can lead to permanent damage. Human neural patterns are particularly vulnerable. Kelly turned to her communications officer. Warn all ships. All human crew members need neural shielding immediately. Deploy Countermeasure Protocol 7. The command center erupted into activity as orders were relayed. Multiple screens showed Alliance ships moving into defensive positions. Zira, Amanda said, touching her arm. Can we block the neural field? It's possible. Zira said, thinking quickly. The field operates on specific frequencies. If we could generate an inverse wave pattern, we might be able to create a shield. Kelly overheard. I need a solution fast. Zira, can you work with our engineers to develop this shield? I'll try. Zira promised. Amanda escorted her to engineering, where human and alien technicians were already working on defense systems. Zira explained what they needed, and a human engineer named Grace immediately grasped the concept. We can modify our electromagnetic shields, Grace said. If you can give me the exact frequencies, we can calibrate our deflectors to counter them. Zira worked frantically with the engineering team, calculating frequencies and testing shield configurations. The station shuddered as the first Vexari attacks hit the outer defenses. Through the viewport, Zira could see Alliance ships engaging the enemy. Flashes of weapons fire illuminating space. An officer reported from the command center. The Vexari are 30 minutes from deploying the neural weapon. We need more time, Grace said, her fingers flying over control panels. Zira had an idea. She contacted Commander Kelly. What if we deployed a decoy, something that emits human neural patterns to confuse their targeting systems? Kelly considered it briefly. Do it, she ordered. Zira and Grace quickly assembled devices that mimicked human brain activity. They launched them on small drones away from the station and ships. The Vexari weapons locked onto the decoys, giving the engineering team precious additional minutes to complete the shield. Just as they activated the shield, a wave of energy rippled through space. The modified defenses held the neural attack mostly at bay, though some humans reported headaches and disorientation. The Vexari clearly hadn't expected resistance to their secret weapon. With their surprise advantage neutralized, the Vexari fleet. Faltered Alliance ships pressed the attack, targeting the research vessels that controlled the neural weapon. A cheer went up in engineering as the main Vexari ship exploded. The battle continued for several more hours, but the Alliance gradually gained the upper hand. The remaining Vexari ships retreated, jumping to hyperspace. The station had suffered damage, but remained operational. Casualties were minimal, thanks to the warning and shields in the aftermath. Commander Kelly called a meeting of senior staff and key personnel, including Zira. That was too close, Kelly said. The Vexari are becoming desperate. They're deploying experimental weapons directly in battle. Zira agreed. Their tactics are changing. They never would have risked those research vessels before. A human intelligence officer named Heather spoke up. We've analyzed communications intercepted during the battle. The Vexari High Command specifically ordered the capture of Anthosian scientist Zira. They consider her knowledge a severe security breach. All eyes turned to Zira, who felt a mix of fear and pride. You've officially become one of their most wanted, Amanda said with a grim smile. Welcome to the club. Kelly looked thoughtful. This confirms that Zira's knowledge is even more valuable than we initially believed. We need to accelerate our countermeasure program, and we need to keep Zira safe. I won't hide, Zira said firmly. I came here to help defeat the Vexari, not to cower from them. Kelly nodded with approval. We'll increase security, but you're right, your work is too important. The best protection is pushing forward with our plans. After the meeting, Zira returned to her quarters exhausted but determined. She had seen firsthand how humans faced danger. They didn't back down even against overwhelming odds. Their courage was contagious. The next morning, Zira was summoned to a secure laboratory deep within the station. Amanda met her at the entrance, Commander. Kelly wants you to see something, Amanda explained. This is classified even within the Alliance. They entered a laboratory where a small team of researchers worked. Around them were strange devices, unlike anything Zira had seen before. A human scientist, named Patricia, greeted them. Patricia leads our Special Weapons Division, Kelly explained, joining them. This is Project Sunburst, our answer to Vexari. Neural technology, Patricia gestured to a device on the central table. We've been developing this for months but couldn't complete it without understanding exactly how Vexari neural weapons work. Your insights have been the missing piece. Zira examined the device. It appeared to be a neural interface but designed to work with multiple species. The technology was elegant blending approaches from several Alliance members. What does it do? She asked. Patricia smiled. It's a neural harmonizer. Instead of disrupting brain patterns like the Vexari weapon, it synchronizes them, allowing for perfect coordination between different species. Without the language barriers or misunderstandings that normally happen, think of it as a temporary hive mind, Kelly explained. Each individual remains autonomous but can share sensory input, tactical information, and coordinate movements perfectly. Zira was amazed. The implications were enormous. This could revolutionize not just warfare, but cooperation between species. There's more, Amanda said. The system includes a feature that shields users from Vexari neural attacks. It creates a feedback loop that can actually turn their weapons against them. The Vexari rely on their neural technology to maintain control of their empire, Patricia continued. If we can neutralize that advantage, we can free billions of enslaved beings across dozens of systems. We need your help refining it, Kelly said to Zira. Your understanding of both Anthosian and Vexari neuroscience is unique. You've experienced their neural weapons firsthand. Zira felt the weight of responsibility but also excitement. This was why she had chosen to stay with the Alliance. This technology could end the war and free her people. I'll help, she agreed. Over the next several weeks, Zira worked with Patricia and her team improving the neural harmonizer. Her experience as a prisoner gave her insights into Vexari technology that no one else had. The team made rapid progress adapting the device for battlefield use. During this time, Zira also continued training with Amanda, learning human combat techniques. Despite having 4 arms compared to Amanda's 2, Zira found herself frequently outmaneuvered. You think too much, Amanda explained during one session. The Vexari taught you to fear them, to believe they're superior. But combat isn't just about strength or number of limbs. It's about believing you can win. Zira practiced relentlessly, gradually improving. Her friendship with Amanda deepened as they shared stories of their homeworld. Zira described the crystal forests of Anthos, while Amanda spoke of Earth's oceans and mountains. One day, as they rested after training, Amanda received an urgent message from Commander Kelly. They rushed to the command center where senior staff were gathering around a holographic display. We've received intelligence about a major Vexari facility, Kelly announced. The facility appears to be their primary neural weapons research center. It's located on a moon, in the Cygnus system. According to our information, they're developing a long-range neural disruptor capable of affecting entire planets. The implications were horrifying. Such a weapon could incapacitate all humans on a planet, leaving it defenseless against invasion. We need to destroy that facility before they complete the weapon. Kelly continued. I'm authorizing a stealth mission to infiltrate and sabotage the research. Amanda stepped forward. I volunteer, Commander. Kelly nodded. I expected nothing less, Lieutenant. The mission will require someone familiar with the facility layout. She turned to Zira. You're the only one who's been inside a similar Vexari research center. Your knowledge would be invaluable, but the risk is substantial. I won't order you to go. Zira didn't hesitate. I'll go, she said. My people are at risk too. The mission team was assembled carefully, a small squad of 4 humans, including Amanda and 2 other species chosen for their specific abilities. A Tekken named Rono could detect energy fields, making him valuable for avoiding security systems. A Brel crystal being named Shur could interfere with Vexari communications. Zira would provide knowledge of Vexari facilities and assist with identifying the neural technology. They trained together for a week, learning to work as a unit. The neural harmonizer was deployed in limited form, allowing them to coordinate without speaking. Though not the finished version, it still provided significant advantages. The stealth ship Nightshade was prepared for the mission. Smaller than the Starlight, it was designed specifically for covert operations, with advanced cloaking technology and minimal energy signature. The night before departure, Zira sat in the observation deck watching the stars. Her thoughts drifted to her homeworld and family she hadn't seen in years. Amanda joined her, sitting quietly for a moment. Scared, she asked. Finally. Terrified, Zira admitted, but also determined. The Vexari have taken too much, from too many for too long. Amanda nodded. I felt the same way before my first mission. Fear is normal. It keeps you alert, but don't let it control you. Zira turned to her human friend. Why do you do this? Risk your life for other species. Amanda considered the question. For a lot of reasons, I suppose. Partly because it's right. Partly because humans hate seeing bullies win. But mostly she paused, looking out at the stars. Because I believe every sentient being deserves freedom. And I'm in a position to help make that happen. The next morning, the team boarded the Nightshade commander. Kelly saw them off with a brief ceremony. This mission could change the course of the war, she said. Your objective is to destroy the neural weapon and all research data. If possible, retrieve samples of their technology for study, but your safe return is the priority. The Nightshade departed from the station, its engines barely visible as it accelerated to light speed. The journey to the Cygnus system would take 3 days, giving the team time for final preparations. During the journey, they used the neural harmonizer to practice coordinated movements and communications. The device worked better than expected, allowing them to function almost as a single organism. While maintaining individual thought, Amanda led daily strategy sessions, reviewing the mission plan from every angle. The intelligence they had received included partial schematics of the facility. They studied guard rotations, security measures, and potential escape routes. Zira provided critical insights into Vexari psychology and behavior patterns. They're hierarchical and rigid, she explained. They don't adapt quickly to unexpected situations. We can use that against them. The plan was to infiltrate, during a shift change, create a distraction in a secondary lab, then move to the main research area while security was diverted. They would plant explosives with timed detonators, allowing them to escape before the facility was destroyed. On the 3rd day, they arrived at the edge of the Cygnus system. The Nightshade's advanced sensors detected heavy Vexari presence around the moon. Their target facility was larger than intelligence had indicated, with additional defense systems not shown in the schematics. This complicates things, Amanda said, studying the scans. They've doubled security since our intelligence was gathered. Rono the Tekken studied the energy readings. Something's happening. They've increased power to the research section. The weapon must be nearing completion. We need to move now. Another team member named Valerie said if they finish that weapon, billions of lives are at risk. Amanda nodded, adjusting their approach vector. We'll need to modify our entry point. She turned to Zira. What's the least defended area likely to be waste management? Zira said without hesitation. The Vexari consider it beneath them. They usually assign the lowest ranking personnel there. Perfect, Amanda said, changing course. The Nightshade approached the moon, from its dark side, using natural magnetic interference to mask their signature. They landed in a rocky canyon 2 kilometers from the facility. The team donned their specialized armor. Each suit was designed for the wearer's species with integrated communications and life support. The neural harmonizer was distributed as small devices attached to their temples. As soon as the devices activated, Zira felt the connection. It wasn't intrusive like the Vexari neural technology. Instead, it felt like an extension of her awareness. She could sense her teammates' positions and basic emotional states without losing her individual identity. They moved out under cover of darkness. The facility loomed ahead, a massive structure built into the side of a mountain. Exterior lights illuminated landing pads and guard posts. The team avoided these, approaching from the least monitored side. Rono detected the security perimeter, guiding them through gaps in the sensor network. They reached a waste processing outlet a large pipe that, according to Zira, would connect to the facility's lower levels. Valerie, the explosives expert, placed a small device on the pipe covering. It created a localized distortion that prevented alarms from triggering when they cut through. The team entered, crawling through the foul-smelling conduit. Zira led the way, drawing on her memories of similar facilities. The pipe branched several times, but she navigated confidently. Finally, they reached a maintenance hatch. Sheer, the crystalline Brel, used her abilities to disrupt the electronic lock, gaining them access to a utility corridor. Through the neural link, they coordinated, silently moving in perfect synchronization. They encountered 2 Vexari maintenance workers, who were quickly subdued and restrained. The team took their identification badges, which would help them move through certain areas. According to the facility schematic, the main laboratory should be 3 levels up. Amanda gestured. They continued, through the maintenance areas, avoiding main corridors whenever possible. They reached a security checkpoint that required higher clearance. Valerie accessed a terminal, planting a virus that created a false alarm in a distant section of the facility. When guards rushed to respond, the team slipped through the checkpoint. The research level was heavily guarded. Vexari security personnel patrolled in pairs, carrying advanced weapons. Zira sensed growing tension through the neural link. Everyone understood the danger but remained focused. Amanda signaled for them to wait as a patrol passed. She pointed to an air circulation duct large enough for them to crawl through. Quietly, they removed the cover and entered the duct system. The ventilation system provided a direct route to the main laboratory. Zira could hear Vexari scientists below, discussing technical details of their weapon. Through small vents, they observed the laboratory, a massive chamber filled with specialized equipment. At its center stood a device that Zira recognized as an amplified version of the neural disruptor she had seen tested on prisoners. Scientists moved around the device, making adjustments. A high-ranking Vexari commander observed their work. From fragments of conversation, Zira gathered that they planned to test the weapon within hours. Their target was a small Alliance outpost. They needed to act quickly. Amanda directed Valerie to identify the best locations for explosives, while Schur prepared to disrupt communications and security systems. Rono monitored energy patterns to warn of any changes in security. The team separated, each moving to predetermined positions. Amanda and Zira would secure the central laboratory and retrieve research data, while the others created diversions and planted explosives. The neural link allowed them to coordinate the precise timing. When all were in position, Amanda gave the signal. Schur activated her crystalline resonance, creating interference that disrupted communications throughout. The facility alarms began to sound, but conflicting. Emergency signals created confusion. Rono triggered power fluctuations in secondary systems, drawing security forces away from the main lab. Valerie planted explosives at key structural points and power junctions. Amanda and Zira dropped from the ventilation duct into the main laboratory. Surprising the scientists, the Vexari commander reached for a weapon, but Amanda was faster. Her stunner dropped him before he could fire. The scientists were not fighters. They surrendered quickly. Zira rushed to the main computer terminal, downloading research data, while Amanda secured the weapon prototype. The Vexari language on the screen was familiar to Zira from her captivity. She quickly identified the critical files. Through the neural link, she sensed Valerie's warning. Security reinforcements were responding faster than expected. Their timeline was compressed. "Hurry," Amanda urged. "We have 5 minutes before this place is swarming with guards." Zira completed the download, disconnecting the data device. She examined the weapon, noticing a design flaw. That explains why it wasn't already deployed, she realized. The targeting system is unstable. Amanda planted explosive charges on the prototype while Zira gathered sample components that might be useful to Alliance scientists. The neural link buzzed with urgency as their teammates reported increasing security response. "They need to reset the diversion," Amanda said. "We'll take a different exit route, meet at extraction point." They left the laboratory, heading toward a secondary maintenance corridor. Alarms blared throughout the facility. Zira could sense the team's movements through the neural link. They were all in motion, converging toward the extraction point. Amanda and Zira encountered 3 Vexari guards. The neural harmonizer allowed them to fight as one, predicting and complementing each other's movements. Despite being outnumbered, they quickly overpowered the guards as they reached a junction. Zira sensed danger through the link. She pulled Amanda back just as weapons fire erupted ahead. A security team had cut off their planned route. "This way," Zira said, leading them down an alternative path. They climbed through service areas and ventilation shafts, gradually working their way toward the outer perimeter. Valerie's voice came through the comm system. "Charges set. Detonation in 8 minutes. Everyone out now." The extraction point came into view, a small maintenance door leading. Outside, Rano and Shur were already there. Valerie joined moments later, her armor scorched from a near miss. They exited the facility, racing across open ground toward the canyon where the Nightshade waited. Vexari security forces emerged from the building behind them, firing weapons. The team took cover behind rock formations, returning fire when necessary. The neural harmonizer allowed them to coordinate, covering fire as they retreated. Zira had never experienced such perfect teamwork, even with her forearms allowing her to operate multiple weapons. They reached the ship, Amanda activating the engines before they were fully aboard. The Nightshade lifted as the facility behind them erupted in explosions. The primary charges detonated, in sequence destroying the neural weapon research lab and collapsing a significant portion of the facility as they accelerated away from the moon. Vexari fighters gave chase. The Nightshade's stealth systems were compromised by weapons damage. Amanda piloted, expertly evading fire and using the moon's magnetic field for cover. When they reached safe distance, Shear activated a disruption pulse that confused the Vexari targeting systems, giving them the moment they needed to jump to light speed. Team collapsed in exhaustion as the stars stretched into lines around them. The mission was successful. They had destroyed the weapon, gathered critical intelligence, and all had survived. Zira examined her injuries, minor burns and bruises. Nothing serious. She looked around at her teammates, feeling a profound connection even after deactivating the neural harmonizer. They had faced death together and prevailed. When they returned to Alliance Station Omega, they were greeted as heroes. Commander Kelly personally debriefed them. The intelligence Zira recovered revealed the full extent of Vexari neural weapons research and exposed vulnerabilities in their technology. The Alliance scientists immediately began developing countermeasures using the components Amanda and Zira had retrieved. The neural harmonizer program was accelerated based on their successful field test. During a celebration dinner, Zira found herself seated beside Amanda. The human raised a glass in toast to freedom, she said, and to friendship across the stars. Zira raised her glass, meeting Amanda's eyes. To humanity, she replied, the defenders who taught the galaxy how to fight back. Around them, representatives of a dozen species celebrated, united in purpose. The Vexari were still powerful, but their aura of invincibility had been shattered. Species that had lived in fear for generations were rising up, inspired by human courage. Zira knew the war was far from over, but for the first time she believed it could be won. And when victory came, it would be largely thanks to humans, those strange beings from a distant planet who refused to accept that any sentient creature should live in chains.